1, 2, 1, 2.
Actually.
Okay. Here we are. We're warming up. We're waiting for a few more people to enter the C Factor C room. It's not a green room this evening. It's a C room. What color would it be as a C room? Caramel? A caramel room, perhaps. What do you think, Ricky? Caramel room. We have more coming in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As you're coming in, I want to encourage you all, which I'll remind you in a second, to make sure that you have a glass of Cardenal Mendoza poured and a glass of Andalus poured, 2 different glasses. And then we'll make our cocktail unless you've made it already.
Who has the cocktail?
Who has it? Well, I sure do. Who's got their cocktails?
I have my cocktail, yeah.
It's cocktail o'clock. But what time is it? It's 10 o'clock here. It's only 5 where you are.
10 o'clock.
Perfect.
Yeah. 10 in the night.
Well, I think it's not very Andaluz of us to start straight on time. So what time should we start, Borja? 15 minutes late?
Okay, thank you. I'm the only Andalusian here, so
bueno. Tengo mi corazón en Andalucía.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. That's right.
What do you think?
Yeah, we can wait like, yeah, we can wait 5-10 minutes. It's okay.
Is the Cuban way to rock up right on time or a little bit later, Lisette?
Oh, we're always on time. No. I always like tell my guests, like, please don't show up to my house on time. At least 30 minutes late. It's just our culture.
I think we can probably start. I mean, since I've been in Andalusia, things don't start for at least 15 minutes after the time that they ask you to be there. So 2 minutes, I think we can crack on in. So, hola, and welcome to the Cardenal Mendoza C Factor experience. My name is Chelsea Anthon, and yes, you hear right, I'm an Aussie, but I'm also half Spanish, and I've been living in Spain for the past 8 years. And I've been on a mission to help Spanish brands transform to digital. And it's through this work, and also that I am a hardcore sherry lover, that I discovered and fell in love with Sanchez Romate. But more importantly, I fell in love with the people of Sanchez Romate and their brandy Cardenal Mendoza, which we are here tonight to explore. I've been working with the guys from the bodega for 6 years, and I'm really honored to be part of this experience tonight, and especially excited to be joined by a panel of highly skilled C Factor experts, which you're going, what the hell is a C Factor? And I'll talk to you about that in a second. But I'm going to introduce you also to our experts as we go through the tasting. But before we get started, it's really important, as I sort of mentioned before, in case you've only just logged on, that have you poured yourself a glass of Cardenal Mendoza in one glass here, and also a glass of Angelas in another glass. I just can't reach it. I have everything else. I have a cocktail, I have coffee, I have cigars. I love my pack, which just arrived. So in your pack, before we crack on, so while we're sort of waiting for people to come in, and before I introduce you to the important people that you're going to get the most out of, I want to make sure that you've got your Cardenal Mendoza poured, your Angelas poured, and in your little pack you had a recipe, which is the Cardenal Mendoza Old Fashioned, the Cardinal Old Fashioned. And I have to just take a moment to pay a little tribute to a really special guy, Marcelino Piquero, who is part of the reason why I started working with Cardenal Mendoza. Big character. He'd worked for the bodega for over 30 years, and he was the essence of the brand, and we lost him in December. So this drink, the Cardenal Old Fashioned, I learned from Ricky, who's here on the screen tonight, who some of you may know. Ricky has been, is the importer for Cardenal Mendoza in the States with Shaw Ross, and they've been importing the brandy for more than 45 years. So Ricky's going to be here to answer any technical questions that I can't get through or Borja can't get through. And Laura is also here from the Badish group, who you all know. So she's also here to answer any questions that you may need. And then there's all of us to pretend to answer the questions that you need. So your old fashioned, back to that, just kick off before we start we're going to take you into the bodega of Cardenal Mendoza. There's a really simple recipe here that you got in your pack, a jigger, which actually I made with Marcelino. And you've got a cocktail kit, and you can't see because, you know, I'm not making TV, I'm online. We have to remember that. You've got everything you need to make your old fashioned. So make your old fashioned as I chat on, so you don't miss the good bits with our panelists. So I've got no doubt many of you have already been part of the Zoom boom, as I call it, of webinars. So our goal tonight is to not just talk at you, which I've been doing too long already, is to make this experience as interactive as possible. We want you to immerse yourself in the C Factor. That's why you've got these fabulous kits with the chocolates and the cigars and the coffee and everything in there. We want you to taste and experience and be with us in this online tasting so that you're not just standing back. So if you want to chat, what we want you to do is just chat, like go down to the chat and chat. That's with your peers and that's everyone else that's participating in the tasting. If you would like to ask a question, we want you to do that in the Q&A. So that as well is down. You can see a little icon that says Q&A. So just put your question in there and we're going to do our best to answer all of the questions throughout the tasting. I'm not a TV host or a producer, so I'm going to do my best to try and do it. This is the thing with Zoom boom, where all of a sudden, you know, TV hosts and executive producers and assistants and camera people all at once. So we'll do our best to try and answer all the Q&As, but stick them in there rather than in the chat. The chat, just chat. So in your chat right now, I want to know who's made their cocktails. And I'm going to check the chat, make sure I know how to. Yes. Okay, there's lots of people in there already. Tell us, give us a yes if you've made your cocktail and you're ready to go before I cross to Borja, who is live. Okay, good. We've got a couple of yeses. That's all I need. So I might give you a little bit more time while a few people are logging on. And I'm just going to tell you quickly about the C Factor and the Golden Week. So this week is the annual Golden Week that we celebrate with Cardenal Mendoza. It's a very, very simple concept. It's a reason for us. We do it every year on the last week of October, and it's a reason for us to give our distributors and our partners and anyone that works with us a reason to talk about Cardenal Mendoza. So what we do is we do anything. Well, normally we do in-store tastings and we do cocktail contests. This year we've taken it all online as everybody is adapting to this new digital evolution that we're in. So the C Factor is also a very simple concept. So just to give you a tiny bit of background of where it came from, within a few months of launching the Cardenal Mendoza social platforms, I was analyzing how the global community themselves were posting and talking about Cardenal Mendoza. And there were 4 consistent themes that were coming through, which was Cardenal Mendoza with coffee, Cardenal Mendoza with chocolate or chocolate desserts, Cardenal Mendoza with cigars, and Cardenal Mendoza in cocktails. So it was a no-brainer. It was like I didn't come up with it. It was actually through our own community that the C Factor was born. And it has since allowed us to create an entire experience around it, which never gets tiresome. So on that note, I believe it's time we show you why some drinks may have the X factor, but why we believe Cardenal Mendoza has the C Factor. That's so cheesy, but I like it. So our first presenter is coming to you live from Jerez de la Frontera, where Cardenal Mendoza is aged for a minimum of 15 years in the cellars of Romate. Minimum 15 years, but it's way more than that. So Borja Leal, who you can see there in the bodega, Borja has been with Romate for over 13 years, nearly 15 years himself. So he could be a Cardenal Mendoza himself. And he spent 3 years working in Miami. So he knows the American market quite well. He actually manages all of the States and South America. So Borja travels promoting Cardenal Mendoza all year round, except for this year. He basically has brandy in his blood. Keep in mind that he is live in the bodega, and right now in Spain, we've been given a curfew. So he's already looking at me going, you're talking too much, because he's not, after 11 p.m., he's not going to be able to walk on the streets. So hello, Borja, welcome.
Hello, Chelsea, how are you? Good to see you.
You know I'm fabulous. I have my old fashioned.
Good, me too. Well, I'm just tasting the Cardenal Mendoza neat.
Oh, so why don't you tell us first, before you take us through the bodega, which is very romantic, and why I know you want to sleep there, and so do I.
Yeah.
But
well,
Why is Cardenal Mendoza so special compared to Armagnac or Cognac or other brandies?
Well, Cardenal Mendoza is unique around the world. The process of elaboration is different. In a few minutes, I'm going to explain a little bit about the process of elaboration. But the first thing I would like to say that I'm right now in one of the most important places of the bodega for me. This is the cellar where Cardenal Mendoza is aging, is resting, is sleeping. So let me tell you something. Here, during my 13 years working in Sanchez Romate, every time I get stressed with big meetings, with a lot of emails, I come here to smell the aroma of the Cardenal Mendoza, to touch the barrels of Cardenal Mendoza, to talk to the Cardenal Mendoza, and sometimes we talk each other. That's true. And well, yeah.
I'd love to be on the fly on the wall for that.
Yeah.
Or a bat.
So
basically, a bat on the wall is more appropriate in the bodega, no? Do you have bats there in the bodega?
Excuse me?
Do you have bats?
Bats? Yeah, we have bats. Well, maybe you can see, it's dark because it's 10 in the night, but maybe you can see in the walls the bat over there, like a white. Let me show you. You see over there, like black
bat sheet
signals. Yeah. These are bats. They love Cardenal Mendoza. They love the alcohol, and they come here into the cellar during the night to smell, to sleep with the Cardenal Mendoza. So yeah, this is very romantic, and I always like to walk over here to enjoy my Cardenal Mendoza, to smell the Cardenal Mendoza. We are located in Jerez de la Frontera. I'm talking under a building built it in 1781. So we're talking about a winery with more than 240 years old. That's a lot of history. And I'm talking about Sanchez Romate. Sanchez Romate is the producer of Cardenal Mendoza. Actually, Cardenal Mendoza is the flagship product for Sanchez Romate. And well, still today, after 200 years, Sanchez Romate is still a family-owned company. What that means? That means that family and we as employees, we try to keep the authenticity, we try to keep the tradition of a family-owned company, but without forgetting the new trends, the innovation, well, in conclusion, what people are demanding today. What about Cardenal Mendoza? Well, Cardenal Mendoza, it's a Solera Gran Reserva, 15-year-old, aged in sherry cask, okay? We are talking about a Solera Gran Reserva. Those sherry casks that today are working with our brandy, previously, a long time ago, were working with sweet sherry wines. Those sherry wines are Pedro Ximénez, very sweet. The grape is almost like a raisin. So that's the reason why the PX, the Pedro Ximénez, gives that color, that raisin aroma, plum, vainilla, caramel. So answering your question, that's the reason. This is what makes Cardenal Mendoza different, right? The barrel, the place where we are, the microclimate of Jerez de la Frontera, the people who are working behind the barrels, the people who are working behind the brand. So, well, that's important. I would like to explain you in a couple of minutes how we elaborate the Cardenal Mendoza, because this makes also this brandy a bit different than the rest. Here in a barrel, I see what we call the Sistema de Soleras y Criaderas, Soleras and Criaderas system. We have different level of barrels. Solera level, this is the final product, the 15-year-old Cardenal Mendoza. These barrels are going into the bottle directly. If you are coming to Jerez de la Frontera, if you are coming to visit us, you are not going to see any warehouse. We don't have a big warehouse, actually, because we prefer to have the Cardenal Mendoza inside the barrel much better than inside the bottle, okay? Because the Cardenal Mendoza could improve in aroma, in taste, in smoothness, in a well balance inside the barrel. So basically, here we have the Sistema de Soleras y Criaderas. Solera, first criadera, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So this means that we always work under order. If we receive an order, we need to prepare that order. So from the solera, we take out a little bit of each solera barrel. And
so
this
the solera's
brandy,
never empty?
Never empty. We just take out 1/3 of the total barrel. Normally, the sherry casks are 500 liters, okay? So we take only 1/3. 1/3 from here, 1/3 from here, 1/3 from there. And this is gonna go into the bottle directly because this is already the 15-year-old. But after that, the solera level, it's a bit empty. How can we refill that solera level? Taking out from the first criadera and refilling into the solera level. Now the solera level, it's full, we are okay, but the first criadera, it's a bit empty. What can we do? We take out from the second criadera and we introduce it into the first criadera, and so on, from the third to the second, from the fourth to the third, from the fifth to the fourth, from the sixth to the fifth, from the seventh to the sixth. And at the seventh criadera, we have the distillation coming from the wine. We work, obviously, because it's a brandy, the materia prima, the raw is a grape called Airen. We do the fermentation, we have a wine, and we distillate that wine. So that distillation comes into the seventh criadera. So in conclusion, from the very beginning to the end, it takes about 15-year-old average. This is the Cardenal Mendoza, the classic one. Then we have the 25-year-old Carta Real and the 50-year-old Non Plus Ultra, okay?
But in reality, you never know the age of the brandy. This is the other beauty.
Exactly, because it's a dynamic system. It's like a blending, and we are blending from different barrels, but average, it's about 15, okay? Okay, I'm gonna enjoy the Cardenal Mendoza. Let's taste it neat first before having a cocktail. So in color,
after the cocktail.
Yeah. So
in between.
In color, we see that this Cardenal Mendoza is dark. It's very elegant, transparent, but dark. Okay, let's say that it's dark mahogany. You know the reason why, Chelsea? Because this is darker than French cognacs and obviously
it's from the
than
PX,
other
no?
brand. Exactly. The barrels that you see here, all the barrels, thousands of barrels, which are working with Cardenal Mendoza today, previously were working with very old, sweet sherry wines, the Pedro Ximénez sherry wine. And the Pedro Ximénez sherry wine is coming from almost from a racing, very sweet grape. So that's why the color is coming from the racing, okay?
Which is, I think, a really good key point to think about with all these pairings we're about to do. That PX is why we all think that, well, we're not we, but the community has discovered that Cardenal Mendoza pairs so well with the C factors that we're going to explore, the raisin, the PX. It's quite unique as well.
Right. In aroma, it's very elegant. Hits of raisins, plum, again coming from the PX barrel. And then if we taste it, so smooth, very smooth. I mean, even if we are talking about a 40% alcohol brandy, 80 proof, but it's so smooth, very well balanced, perfect balance actually. And
what do you think, Sean? I'm keen to just, I know I'm sort of cutting in, but I can see Sean nodding.
It's amazing, and I hadn't heard Borja's presentation, but as I was working on my pairing, that's the first thing I picked up. A really, really bright, it's floral on the nose, really bright fruity profile, but the distinct note that I picked up on my palate was raisins. So when he said that, it really struck me. Yeah, this is amazing.
So we might convert you.
Listen,
thank you, Sean.
This has been a wonderful exploration for me over the last couple of days. So
cool.
I'm happy.
Good. Sorry, Borja, back to you.
Yeah, so on palate, yeah, well balanced, very smooth because of this sweetness coming from the PX barrel. Almost every single barrel that today are working with the Cardenal Mendoza, we're talking about 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old barrels. They all are very old barrels. And they all are sherry cask. You know that sherry cask now is like a trend for whiskeys and rums or even mezcales. So 100% of the barrels working with Cardenal Mendoza since 1887 were sherry cask. Okay, so as we say, we are like 100 years ahead of everyone. Okay. So we are celebrating the Cardenal Mendoza Golden Week, and I would like to celebrate with a cocktail. I'm a cocktail fan, okay? Today, here, this is autumn time, but here in Jerez, it looks like a winter, almost winter. Today, we are having a cold day and windy. So what my body is asking for something warm. So that's why I prepare an old fashioned, okay? So I have my old fashioned already prepared. So what I made is to put in a, whiskey glass, old fashioned glass, 2 ounces of Cardenal Mendoza, half ounce of Cardenal Mendoza Angelus. As you all probably know, Cardenal Mendoza Angelus is an orange liqueur made with Cardenal Mendoza, a little bit of clove, cardamom, and then half ounce of simple syrup, a couple of cherries as a garnish, and a slide of cherries.
Cherries,
yeah.
no?
Cherries, sorry. Yeah.
It's because you're in the cherry
bodega.
Yeah,
cherry is the wine. Cherry, sorry.
Cherry.
A slide of orange, and 2 dashes of bitters, like Angostura. And this is what I have here. So, well, I'm celebrating with you. I'm gonna enjoy this old fashioned with all of you. And thank you, Chelsea. I'm gonna be here, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you from the bodega of Cardenal Mendoza. This is where this is the place where Cardenal Mendoza is sleeping now at 10 in the night. And this
Are you there completely
magical,
by yourself?
You know? Excuse me?
Are you there completely by yourself?
I'm alone. I'm on my own. So yeah, maybe in 1 hour I will call to the master cellar just to close the doors. But this is completely dark. It's cold, but at the same time, it's magical. So I love this. Yeah, I really love it.
So if anyone's got any questions for Borja, put them in the Q&A while we get ready to. I have a question for you though, Borja. What is your ultimate C factor pairing? Like, you've said that you're the cocktail man, but...
Yeah, I'm a cocktail man, but now in the day by day, after dinner, I like Cardenal Mendoza and chocolate. I used to buy like a 80% dark chocolate. Yeah, just a couple of ounces. And then I do the blending with the Cardenal Mendoza, the 15-year-old, or the Carta Real 25-year-old when I'm watching a good movie or just chatting with my family, my friends. Yeah, that's my moment of the day.
Let's say your moment.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good segue because now we're going to introduce Alejandra Perez Mendotha. No relation to Cardenal Mendoza, but I think she's an excellent guest to have on. So Alejandra is the owner of Romanico's Chocolatier in Miami, and she's going to present the second C Factor experience with chocolate. So Alejandra is a designer by trade.
Chelsea, before we move to Alejandra, if I may, I want to just quickly talk about Angelus real quick. Borja touched it very quickly. This is the new addition for the company, and as he said, is an orange flavor, but it's not a liqueur. It's actually a brandy because it's 40%. We use the same brandy, Cardenal Mendoza, 15-year-old, and the south of Spain is famous for the bitter oranges. And basically, in a short, story, the master seller took the oranges and put them on a barrel with Mendoza, and that's how the idea of this product came about. So when you receive a miniature in your package of Angelus, you should use that for your old fashions. It will give you that orange flavor that you need for the. So enjoy.
Okay, so sorry. Alejandra is a designer by trade, but her true love has always been cooking. She grew up in Venezuela, which is home to the best cacao beans in the world. When she moved to the US in 1996, she found herself missing the quality Venezuelan chocolate and decided to create Romanico's Chocolate. Today, Romanico's is considered the best chocolate brand in Miami. I can't wait to open mine. I've been busting. I'm a massive chocolate person, and as soon as I opened the box, I was like, oh, but I'm busting into it. So Romanico's chocolate has been featured on the Food Network, PBS and CBS, and in the Miami edition of Louis Vuitton City Guide, which is well done. You've done all this on your own, huh? And this is what I think is wonderful about this session we're doing. It's very much about authenticity, real people talking real stuff that they live and love and breathe, and it's very artisanal. So without further ado, I think we should introduce you to the room, or to the group. And how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Very
Thank you
good.
for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
I want to know what the first chocolate was that you ever actually, before we get into the pairing, which I'm busting to open. What was the first chocolate that you ever created as a self-made chocolatera? Is that what you say?
Well,
chocolatera?
Yeah, chocolatier, let's say.
Okay.
Chocolatier. Yeah, para chocolatera in Spanish is good too. So the first one that I made is a truffle. I wanted to send you truffle, but they're very delicate to travel. They need refrigeration. So I send you 70% chocolate so you can taste it.
Mm-hmm.
The first chocolate was made with my grandma's recipe, and was what introduced me to this beautiful industry that when I get into, I really fall in love and I never get out. I have been in business for 19 years and I love each minute of it. It's really beautiful and delicious.
Yeah, and it feeds your heart, which I think we all need our hearts fed right now more than ever, no?
Sorry?
We all need our hearts fed right now, which your chocolates feed the heart.
Yes. Yeah, chocolate is really, I always say here that chocolate is an emotional business. We don't sell chocolate, we sell emotions. We're like we are like a vehicle to say somebody I love you, somebody thank you. Really, it's a very good place to be when you want to say something nice to somebody.
So there's 2 chocolates in our pack. Take us through, which one should we be tasting first? Because I think we're all hanging to taste. Yes. So there's the little square ones and the hexagon ones.
The cranberry.
So which one are we tasting first?
Both are plain. I didn't want to send you something filled since I didn't want you have another flavor besides the chocolate paired with the brandy. And I try to that you taste the texture, because in chocolate is not only the flavor, the texture also make a difference. So I send you the plain one, that is this one, has ganache inside, is softer. And we have this that is the cranberry, that is solid 70% chocolate with cocoa single origin from Venezuela, which has a very good fruit notes on the back. And with the cranberry, that give you extra furry flavor. So what I would like you to do now is that you bite this one, try to have half of the cranberry, and taste first the brandy, the Cardenal Mendoza Brandy, which is amazing.
Oh, I should have tried the brandy first.
No. First the chocolate. Try to make it melt in your mouth, feel the textures, melt it in your mouth until your palate is full of chocolate.
God,
and
the texture is amazing.
Yeah, and then you pour a little bit of your brandy and try to connect, to mix it in your mouth. You will feel the strength of the brandy on your back. It's really good.
Oh, it brings out a lot of sweetness and the raisins, like, and the brandy, and it's super soft.
Yeah. Now, bite again the other part, and you try to go, to taste it and disappear in your mouth, and then another. Try again the Cardenal Mendoza without so many chocolates, just a little bit in your mouth. And you will feel it's a completely different experience. The chocolate still is there, but the brandy came out more strong.
Wow. It's really long. The PX is most pronounced. Then someone's just asked a question which I need to answer, I thought, while we're tasting, because this is from Eric to did you say the brandy spends the entirety of the solera aging process in XPX barrels? No, it doesn't. It's in Oloroso MPX barrels. Is that right,
Exactly.
Borja?
Yeah, that's right. We used to use like 80% of the barrels are PX, 20% of the barrels are Oloroso. So yeah, most of them are PX, but yeah, we have a little bit of Oloroso barrels.
So this is why we can really taste the PX notes on the brandy. Exactly. And I think the chocolate's bringing it, like, it's really punching way more. This is gorgeous. I've done a few chocolate and cardamom tastings, but can I get this ordered to Spain?
No, only United States. Yeah, but now I want you to try the same, but with the Angelus.
With the Angelus.
And you will see the sweetness of the Angelus will blend differently than the brandy.
The citrus, no?
Citrus, yeah.
It's lovely, because normally the Angelus is quite hard to pair with chocolate, I find, normally, because of the sweet, and the citrus can overbear it. But
no, in this case, because since the chocolate is dark chocolate and is very strong, it really pairs very good. It's not that the milk chocolate is more sugar, but the tones of the chocolate are strong, so it matches perfectly with the brandy or the liquor.
Do you think the temperature of the brandy changes the way that the chocolate pairs, or that the chocolate reacts with the brandy?
I don't know. I think that in room temperature, they are great. I didn't try it with the cold, but the room temperature is always good for both. If it's too cold or too hot, doesn't work as well. Maybe at least you make a hot chocolate and you put some brandy on it to be very nice.
Oh, we don't need that right now.
Yeah.
I think you should come to Jerez and we can talk about business. I mean, it could be interesting, because I love chocolate. And I think it's a very interesting blending.
It's very interesting.
I think we should now, yeah, definitely.
If you try the other one and repeat the same process, this one, the texture is softer and will melt in your mouth faster. And the experience is completely different.
What percentage cacao is this one?
70% both.
70%. Which is that the sort of golden rule with pairing with brandies, that it should be 65% and over?
Yes. Or with, I will go with the darker you find, because if not, you are pairing with sugar. Because what it means that it's 70% is that you have 70% cacao content and 30% sugar.
Mm.
So as you go higher, you have less sugar and more cocoa. That is really what you want to pair, because you are working with a very strong flavors. So it's good that both are the same level of strength.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That one is good, no? The one I wanted you to feel the difference in textures, because chocolate is amazing. You have the same chocolate and you make it very thin, it's one experience. And if you make it very, soft, ganache is a different experience. And if you make it block, it's a different thing. And I don't say it's the same base, but the experience in the mouth is completely different.
It's
And
gorgeous.
you agree?
That's really dangerous. I could just eat chocolate all the time, but this chocolate's outstanding. We don't have chocolate like this in Spain.
Yeah, Spain has a good chocolate.
And you didn't send us. Well, I'm not trying, but
I'm sorry, Borja. I got the pack.
Well, I'm just having my snifter or Cardenal Mendoza, so I can imagine how you are enjoying Chelsea with the chocolate.
I'm sorry. Well, we were supposed to be together, but then they put lockdown again and we're in curfew. I was like, it's coming to me.
Yeah, okay. It's okay. It's right.
You get to be in the bodega. Come on.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
That's really gorgeous. Thank you so much. Well, we're going to come back
Thank you.
but I think it's a great segue to introduce Sean Williams. Is everyone ready for the next C Factor experience, which is cigars? And you're already there smoking, which I feel like I can already smell your smoke through the screen.
Well,
so Sean,
I don't know
welcome.
What's torturing people more, the lack of chocolate for Borja or in me, or the lack of cigars for you. So
we've got the cigars, we just haven't started yet. Yeah. Although I need to, so first I need to do the introduction. So welcome, Sean. And so let me just introduce Sean a little bit. And so in 2016, Sean was offered an incredible opportunity to become one of the leaders of one of the most iconic cigar companies, Cohiba Cigars. Tonight, we're going to be fortunate enough, or this afternoon, whatever time zone we're in, to experience Sean's own creation, the Cohiba Royale, described as a full-bodied stick with tobaccos from Central America, which I'm very curious to understand as well, Sean, before we start, which we'll get into in a sec, how you go about creating a blend for a cigar. So before joining Cohiba, he successfully built El Primer Mundo Cigar Company internationally and continues to share his love of cigars through consumer-focused events. Bienvenido, here we are. And it's awesome to have you, Sean, with us. So as I said, how do you come up, tell us the process of, I'm a wine and spirits girl. I know the process of the sommeliers and how they go through, but I'm really curious, how do you go would you call yourself a cigar sommelier?
No, in cigar speak, it's called a cigar blender.
And, a blender. So you like the master blender.
Yeah, and I'm careful not to call myself a master blender, because there are people who's been blending cigars as long as I've been alive, and they've forgotten more about cigar making than I know. But I am the lead blender for Cohiba. I like to think I'm pretty good at it, but I hesitate to call myself a master blender. But I am certainly a pretty well accomplished cigar maker, and lucky enough to be here with you guys now to sort of share my latest creation. So, and I'm assuming everyone's sort of set up with the cigars, and obviously with.
I don't reckon you should assume anything in this world that we're in right now. Yesterday we could go out at night. Tonight we can't leave our houses after 10 p.m. And we're in Spain, where we don't go to dinner until 10 o'clock at night. So maybe take us through how we should actually set up, how we should even.
Well, it's pretty simple. Let me just kind of walk you through the cigar really quickly. And I'm probably a third in right now. And we're going to start with the Cohiba Royale, and we're going to start with the Solari Grand Reserva. Incredible pairing. Just some quick notes about the cigar. It is primarily a Central American blend, but more precisely, primarily Nicaraguan blend, The wrapper comes from the Jalapa Valley of Nicaragua. Binder is Piloto Cubano, which is Dominican. And in the filler, there's more Jalapa Valley Nicaraguan tobacco, along with Jamastran Valley Honduran tobacco and some Esteli Nicaraguan tobacco. So of the entire Cohiba portfolio, this is going to be the fullest of the cigars that we make.
Can I just ask you, for how long did you spend researching to come up with this blend for this particular cigar?
Well, I have a good familiarity with the tobacco overall, with the different components. So as far as this blend, took about a year working on this blend, and that's not like a year consistently. It's sort of like you'll put certain components together. I guess just to back up, different cigar makers have different approaches, so to speak, as far as putting a cigar together. For me, it's all about the wrapper. The wrapper on a cigar is the most expensive component and also the most influential component. Typically 35% to 40% of the profile you get from a cigar is going to really derive from the wrapper. So I typically will fall in love with the wrapper, and then everything sort of comes in play after that. So this cigar was born out of a cigar that we made back in 2018, in which we used this wrapper, and I wanted to use this wrapper again and make it available to a broader audience. So that's when this project started. But it's different time frames, you know, depending on the blend, as far as from conception to actually having a cigar on the shelf, as far as how long it takes. This one was about a year.
Wow.
So with that, I mean, this cigar really, really is put together to really highlight Nicaraguan tobacco, which is going to be a little bit more profile forward, a little bit heavier, a little bit more spice on the front end of the palate. And also notable, you're going to get just nice sort of blast of bitter chocolate, some undertones of coffee. So when I was approached to take part in this activation with you guys and had a chance to experience the brandy, immediately I knew this was a cigar that was going to pair with it. So for me, it's just a great pairing. And listening to Borja earlier, I was sort of validated in my thoughts, because again, the first thing that I really picked up as a prominent note was just that sort of fruity profile, and specifically the raisin. So the nice sort of notes of the bitter chocolate with the raisins just really work. And from my standpoint, and I guess I'll sort of get into it for those of you that can smoke a cigar, I'm a little bit ahead of you, but it should be the same. I guess I should have sort of waited to cut the cigar. So hopefully everyone has this, who can smoke, you have your cigar cut, and hopefully at this point it's lit. Take a few puffs to get it going. And go, Chelsea, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, one of the guys has said that his wife has barred cigar smoking from the apartment, but he's taking notes for later.
All right. This is pretty simple. And there's not a whole lot of formality to how you enjoy a cigar. I mean, a cigar is meant to be experienced however you choose to experience it. Some people, here in the States, there's a lot more cigars being smoked because a lot more people are at home. So people are sitting out, or guys who live in townhouses, maybe they go out to the garage. It really doesn't matter. It's about finding your time to escape in whichever way you can. Fortunately, tonight, we can escape with some Cardenal Mendoza Brandy. So for me, really to experience the cigar, you want to get a few puffs, obviously, just to sort of heat the palate up a little bit. And with the brandy, coat the palate. The second sip, you want to just like sit it on your tongue. I mean, if that's being crude, but just kind of let it sit there. And then take a nice hearty draw of the cigar and let the smoke sort of marry with the brandy as it sits on your tongue. And when you get the flavors and the smoke of the cigar sort of marrying with the brandy on your tongue, you really sort of see how these things pair together. And this is an amazing pairing. And I'm saying that in full disclosure, I wasn't intimately familiar with the brandy category in general. So I've really, and I said it earlier, I've really sort of enjoyed it. It's really just sort of opened up a new experience for me. And the pairing with the Cohiba Royale and the Cardenal Mendoza Brandy is just, this is an amazing pairing. It's not overpowering. When you drink other spirits, in particular whiskeys, if you're talking scotches, a lot of times the peat can really sort of mute the palate. Even with bourbons, sometimes the proof is really high, the heat sort of mutes the palate. But this is, it really allows the profile of the cigar to come through, and it doesn't overpower the characteristics of the brandy. These two together is an incredible pairing. So, and we have another pairing. I don't know how we would do that, but I guess to kind of give you guys a once over if you're going to have a chance to enjoy this later. But hopefully you have your Cohiba Connecticut as well. And this is a beautiful shade-grown wrapper grown in the Los Rios region of Ecuador.
Can I ask you something? Why is one bigger than the other? Is it an expense?
No, it's because of the experience. So we make these cigars in different sizes.
Okay.
The Royale, we make in 3 different sizes. This is the Robusto size. So it's a 5.5 in length by 52 ring gauge, and I won't get into how to explain ring gauge, but this particular cigar for this width and this girth smokes a little bit less full body, less spice. So it pairs better with the brandy. We make this cigar in a few different sizes as well, but this particular cigar in the Toro size, it's going to smoke a little bit creamier, a little bit cooler, and it just pairs.
Did you say the Toro size, the bull size?
Toro, yes. This is well, it was a Robusto, 5.5 inches long, and this is a Toro, 6.5 inches long. It's going to smoke a little bit cooler, a little bit creamier, and it just paired better with the Andaluz. So I specifically picked these sizes for the way that they paired with these.
With the brand. Oh my God, it's such a, like, it is such an art. This is what I found fascinating when I started working with Cardenal Mendoza. It was like all these people are talking and pairing with Cardenal Mendoza with the cigars, and hardcore knowledgeable facts and tasting notes that I don't think the brand had ever seen before. I mean, that's one of the positives of social media. Like, there's a lot of negatives, but there's great stuff too, that it gives people a voice and you discover. And we've seen this huge movement in Germany of cigar smokers, massive, which the brand didn't see coming. And it was all through seeing what was going on social. Massive movement that it's now how they're marketing the brandy with cigar lovers.
It's an incredible pairing, and honestly speaking,
I mean, listening to you speak makes me want to smoke.
I wish you could. I'm lonely.
Oh, you're not. I reckon. Is there anyone? There was someone. Afrobella has said that it's snowing. What? Already? Where are you? So they're not able to partake, but but it's fascinating. Where is it snowing already?
I don't know.
Do you know where that is, Laura?
Chicago.
So here, Christian is at Fine Tobacco in New York City, enjoying the Cohiba Royale there. And yes, it is rated 93 points. Thank you, Christian.
Very nice. Chicago. Oh, but her husband's gone out to give it a go. Good work.
Absolutely.
No, I think, it's such, yeah, there you go. They're saying, well done. It's fascinating. I could listen to you talk for ages, because it is actually, well, when you hear you talk about the actual artisanal, the craftsmanship behind it and the research behind it, and then the flavors, it just makes the whole experience so different. And that's what the whole, as a small brand, a small artisanal brand, that's what we do with Cardenal Mendoza. We're not trying to do anything fake. It's like the real authentic stuff, which I think is a great segue to introduce Lisette Gavina, who is Salud. Thank you. We're going to keep talking anyway. Like, we'll do a bit of coffee, and then we can come back between all the different senses. I think the C factor senses, if that sounds cool. And people don't need to I don't need to log off, even though it's quite late here, but I've got nowhere to go. I can't go on the street. We can't believe we're in curfew. This is Spain. You live on the street. But anyway, so Lisette, welcome. So it's time to experience our fourth C factor, which is actually my favorite coffee with Cardenal Mendoza. So here to teach us how to truly experience coffee with brandy, or Cardenal Mendoza, is a 4th generation coffee roaster, Lisette Gavina. Lisette is one of 10 grandchildren running the Gavina Coffee Company, a coffee importer and roaster located in California. She's actually also a licensed Q grader and coffee taster certified by the Coffee Quality Institute, which is akin to a wine sommelier, which I'm very keen to understand a little bit more about that. So everyone's so knowledgeable in their fields tonight, which I think is what makes it even more interesting to learn from you. So her business produces just under 50 million pounds of coffee per year with 4 different brands. So we're going to get to try one of those brands, which I'm actually super excited to have gotten in Spain because we don't have good coffee here. I really miss good coffee. So welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Good. Thanks, Chelsea. Thanks for having me.
And I want to ask you first, considering you would know so many different blends and you're obviously, you know, a coffee sommelier, what actually made you choose this particular blend tonight to pair with Cardenal Mendoza?
All right. So this particular blend is our Don Francisco's espresso blend, and it's actually a blend that was created by my grandfather, who the brand is named in his honor. He was the one that, my family's originally from Cuba, and we were in the coffee business
hang on.
in Cuba for almost 100 years before the revolution. But thanks to my grandparents and of course with their 4 children, they left Cuba and started their lives over in Los Angeles, and that's where we've been roasting our coffees for over 50 years. And so this is a very, very special blend because it's the first blend that my grandfather created here in the United States, and it's our espresso blend. Being of Cuban heritage and having Spanish roots, actually my family's originally from the northern part of Spain, so we have a lot in common with Cardenal Mendoza, long history and a Spanish heritage as well. Planted in the coffee fields in Cuba, and this blend was created with high quality, 100%. There's always a stickler on quality, and coffee is one ingredient, and so you cannot take bad coffee and make it good. You have to start with beans that are grown in, you know, the best coffee producing areas in the world. And this blend in particular is a blend of Central and South American coffees, 100% Arabica coffees, which are the most aromatic and the most flavorful coffees in the world. And this particular blend is roasted in and it's already pre-ground in a fine grind. So if you don't have a grinder at home, don't worry, it's already pre-ground for you. And you can brew it in your espresso machine, whether you have a stovetop or fancy Italian espresso machine, or you can also brew it as regular brewed coffee. And this is a really, really nice pairing with the Cardenal Mendoza because it has spicy, dark chocolatey notes. And so because the coffee and the spirit, you know, you could taste them both separately and first, you know, enjoy the spicy, dark chocolatey notes, and it's more of the dark chocolate, you get more of an aftertaste on the palate with the espresso, which is a nice complement to, you know, the mature fruit that you taste in the brandy.
So tell us about the carajillo. If you want to know what you're talking about and sound like you know what you're talking about in a restaurant and you want to ask for a coffee with brandy, tell us about, like, everyone's got this gorgeous little cup, which is an institution in Spain, but you tell us how should you sound like you know what you're talking about when you order a coffee with brandy?
Oh, well,
we've got bad sound.
I have a really
though.
amazing
I don't know
recipe
if everyone's...
that I brought with me.
Yeah, good.
You can't hear me well?
No, you're breaking up a little bit.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize.
Keep going. We'll
okay,
push through.
I apologize. So to pair with the brandy, the coffee and the brandy, I created a recipe that's actually a traditional Spanish recipe that's called the café bonbon. And this is a very popular recipe in Spain. Madrid or Barcelona, wherever you like to visit in Spain. And you first start with, I have the espresso Cardenal Mendoza cup here. And you first start with your sweetened condensed milk. And you put maybe about an ounce of that. Oof. And then you start to layer the drink together. First with your brandy. Maybe just under an ounce there. And you can start to see some of the layering already start to happen. And then I have 2 ounces of espresso here, our Don Francisco's espresso. And just look at how beautiful that looks. And and of course you want to top it with whipped cream. So I have whipped cream.
Oh, Yolanda's saying, where can we get this recipe?
We're not sparing any calories here.
No calorie share, just some lots of love. I think Laura will make sure that goes out in the email, this recipe.
That's going to be my breakfast for tomorrow. For waking up. Yeah, it looks pretty interesting.
And
what do you think, Borja? It's the cafe bomba.
I love that. I'm a coffee lover also. I used to drink like 2-3 coffees during the day, and but the heavy coffee, the espresso, as the one she's preparing. So I love that, and I love Carajillo. Winter is coming, and I think Carajillo, espresso and Cardenal Mendoza is a great combination.
The Carajillo, which is what sort of is this? Basically, it's a black coffee with a really healthy splash of Cardenal Mendoza in it. How much is a healthy splash, Borja? Basically, the Carajillo I discovered when I was, first in Spain. You basically have a really long lunch, which we all love a long lunch, and then you sit and you have your coffee and pretend that you're having coffee, but then you put a big healthy dash of brandy. Cardenal Mendoza is the best because, again, of that PX. This is one of the things that Cardenal Mendoza stands out for than the other brandies de Jerez. It's the PX notes of the barrels. And then you sit and you drink that coffee for another 3 hours.
Exactly.
And then you have
that's true. This is what we call the sobremesa. After a meeting or when you are with family or friends, you are having lunch, and after the dessert, you want a carajillo. So in one side you have the espresso that wakes you up. In other side, you have the Cardenal Mendoza that gives you a good time, right? A time to enjoy and to talk and to.
What's your proportions, Borja, of the espresso versus?
Yeah, well, I used to drink a double espresso with 1 ounce of Cardenal Mendoza, or during this year, I've tried the double espresso even with Cardenal Mendoza Angelus. That's great. That's very interesting because you take the citrusy notes coming from the orange peel, coming from the lemon peel, and also the cardamom, the clove. So that's great also, the Carajillo with the Cardenal Mendoza Angelus. I recommend everyone, if they didn't try, that's a good choice.
Yeah, I agree. Especially like this espresso, which has some nice dark chocolatey notes, with the Angelus that has a nice orangey flavor. It's just a really nice match. And because coffee is naturally bitter, and the sweetness of the brandy, it just makes the perfect pairing, whether it's a brunch treat or a nice combination.
So I think that's a good point because we're all in different confinement measures or wherever we are. But I think you've all the businesses that you work with have got, the work that you own have got online like shops that we can buy from, right? That we can get more products. Can you tell us, Lisette, any other coffees that you would recommend that we check out that could be good for pairing with Cardenal Mendoza if we went to your site and wanted to buy some more coffee, which I'm already going to suss out. Ricky, I need you to buy me some coffee and send it to me.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Chocolate. What about you, Alejandra? What other chocolates would you recommend we try from your site that would go really good with our brandy, Cardenal Mendoza?
Well, the truffles are really a great pairing. Truffles, yeah, the truffles. We keep it directly because they are very short shelf life, and but they melt in your mouth, and with the pairing, it's great.
Well, before we wrap up, because we're at time, that went quick. Sorry, Lisette, you're trying to talk. Go. Just sound, we keep losing you. Maybe while she thinks of, well, we try and get her back. Sean, I want to know. Now we can. Yes. Sorry. Go. Tell us now. You there? Testing. 1, 2, 2,
2. Okay.
Your sound's really bad. Maybe
Sorry,
we put it in the email to everyone.
Sound connection.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. No, you had asked me about the coffees, and you can buy all of our coffees through Amazon.com. And I was going to recommend, if you're more of a brewed coffee. Okay.
No, keep going. We can hear you now. Keep going. She's obviously got a delay. Oh, she's frozen.
Okay, here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay, great. I just changed my internet settings. Okay. And I apologize for the sound, but I was saying that our products are available on Amazon.com, all of our Don Francisco's coffees. And if you're more of a brewed coffee drinker than an espresso drinker, I would highly recommend a dark roast coffee to pair well with the brandy, with the Cardenal Mendoza. And I would recommend our double French, which is our deepest, darkest roast. It has nice smoky notes, some charcoaly notes that actually, you know, when you pair it with the brandy, you can still taste the coffee, but really enjoy, you know, that mature fruit and the sweetness of the brandy. We also make flavored coffees, which are really delicious. So if you're looking for something a little bit nutty, a little bit more spicy, I would recommend the Hawaiian hazelnut to pair with the brandy, maybe as a brunch, you know, something, a nice coffee mix for your brunch selection.
Ricky, did you take note of that? I want all of them.
I did.
And I got you, Chelsea, don't worry.
I want all of Alejandro's shop. So we're going to wrap up because we're at time. But I have one question though, because I think it's fascinating. Especially Sean, you triggered this because you were like, you're a bourbon guy, yeah? Did you say? So now you've been Cardenal Mendotha-fied. Like now you've experienced Cardenal Mendotha. Tell me what, now that you've experienced this C factor we talk about, what would be your, like, paint me the picture of your ideal C factor experience, whether it's just with the cigar, like give me the scene. Where are you right now in your ideal spot with your Cardenal Mendotha and obviously your cigar or whatever it is?
Well, probably where I would have been if the weather would have cooperated, which is sitting out by the pool, looking at the water with nice sunlight and so forth. And I'm actually looking forward to doing that tomorrow with the Cohiba Connecticut and the Andalus. I think that's going to be more citrusy, creamy, more of a bright weather experience. So that's going to be my C factor tomorrow if the weather cooperates.
Nice. Alejandra, what's yours? Now that you've also experienced, what would be your ideal C factor experience wherever you could be?
I think if you have after dinner or a nice meal, you have a piece of a very dark 70%, 80% chocolate with a brandy, and you go up to a night with that, it will be delicious.
Nice. Lisette?
Oh gosh, I mean, as soon as I get to be able to travel back to Spain, I think that's where I would like to go. Probably just sit on a plaza. It could be Plaza España or Plaza Salamanca, and just enjoy, you know, all of the seas with, of course, with my loved ones.
Well, I reckon you've got pretty good seas right there with that coffee bomba. You've got
yes.
the BC bomba. I think we're all a bit jealous.
Cafe bomba.
You've told us out yours.
Well,
Ricky, you're in the group.
It's
oh, sorry.
11 in the night in Jerez, so I'm gonna get home.
And avoid the police on the way.
Oh yeah, no, but I have my documents. No problem. No problem. I'm legal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prepare like a neat Cardenal Mendoza. That's it. Simple but nice, and just to enjoy 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to think about the day. This was a very beautiful day. I've been sharing this Cardenal Mendoza experience with all of you, and I hope to see you very soon, and hopefully sooner than later, and hopefully next time here in Jerez. I can't wait to show you around here the cellars, because this is fantastic. This is unique and it's completely worth it. Thank you so much.
I just love that this is what gets me with Jerez and why I am in love with, you know, and do what I do with you guys and Sherry. But I love how you are so into what you do.
Right.
After all, like,
yeah, that's true.
You're so authentic. You just love it. Like, it's so.
Yeah, we are authentic. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
After 13 years working for Cardenal Mendoza, working for Sanchez Romate, every single day I open this green door. It's like I'm impressed. I feel good. I feel positive, and we all are a team, and we work together, and this is nice. This is a beautiful experience in my life. That's true. Yeah.
Thanks, Borja. Ricky, before we shut down, look at you with your big bottle of Cardenal Mendoza showing off.
Well, you know, it's a combination of all of them. You know, you started the night with a cocktail with the old fashioned. You go to dinner, and then you have a little chocolate for dessert, and then you're finished with a carajillo and a big cigar out in the patio. You know, that's for me would be the best. So I can't pick one. I have to choose them all at the same time.
Well, mine is like having a super long pissy lunch with my mates and finishing with the carajillo, where you sit again for another 3 hours with a gorgeous espresso, where it's big healthy splash of Cardenal Mendoza, and I pig out on dark chocolate with at least 80%. But I think I need you to buy me Alejandro's shop or a whole bunch of stuff, Ricky, and that I can smell. I love the smell of cigar smoke, and I love it I actually love the smell of cigar smoke in my hair, but that's sort of lingering as well while you're drinking. That's my C factor. But we're going to wrap up. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating. Before I go, remember that in your kits, you had lots of bits, right? So you had 2 gorgeous cigars. You've also got the chocolates, which I've already demolished. You have the coffee, which I'm super excited about because we really don't have good coffee here. You got your cocktail kit and your jigger, but you also had some bitters and simple syrup, which was to help you make your cocktail, which Borja took us through, which was there's a little cocktail card in there for the old fashioned Cardenal Mendoza style, which was combining the Angelas and the Cardenal Mendoza. So you can do that now and chill out. We're pretty bloody good that it's only 10 past 11, considering we sort of started at 5 past. So we'll bid you farewell. Enjoy the C Factor experience. Thanks for making the time, and take care of all yourselves. And the C Factor has nothing to do with the other C word, by the way.
Now, Chelsea, before we go, I'd like to thank the panelists for your time and your expertise in the matter, and to other participants, thank you on behalf of Cardenal Mendoza, Sanchez Romate, and ourselves here in the United States. We're the importers, as Chelsea said at the beginning. Thank you for participating. We hope you enjoy the night, and please go and enjoy a little bit more Mendoza at your own leisure.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
Salud. Salud.
Salud.
Salud.
Salud. Thank you. I actually learned quite a lot tonight, and I thought I knew everything. Not. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.